Hello and welcome back to another video. In today's video I'm going to be talking through and demonstrating the 3 knots that I typically use near enough every single day, given the situation of course, and sort of just talk through why I use those knots, you know, what makes them good, what makes them handy, whatever. And yeah, so the 3 knots I'm going to show you today are going to be the Alpine butterfly knot, which is this knot here. Then I'm going to show you the double figure of 8 knot, how to tie that. It's quite a simple one, that one. And then also show you how to tie the farmer's loop or circus bowline, whatever one you want to call it. And again, that's quite a nice alternative to the Alpine butterfly. So I will show you how to tie them, and then as I'm tying them, talk you through like the benefits and stuff like that. So yeah, let's get to it. So then first up, I'm going to show you the double figure of 8 knot, which is a very simple knot to tie, nice and easy. So what you want to be doing is getting a bight of rope, creating a loop or a number 6 like so, and then feed this piece around the back, making sure to capture your main line and the tail, and then feed that loop back through as such, making sure to nicely dress it. No one wants a naked knot. And there you have it. That is the double figure of 8 knot. Tied, and you can clip obviously to this end. One thing to obviously make sure is to always have a stopper knot if you're going to be climbing on it, just to eliminate that risk of it coming undone. Yeah, it's just a very nice easy knot to tie, super, you know, keeps the attachment point solid. Although on the heavy loads it can be a little bit hard to untie, especially if you're continuously heavily loading it. So an alternative could be the figure of 9 knot, which again is a very useful knot to know, but that again, I only use that in a rigging scenario. But this, I would climb on this quite happily with obviously a stopper knot in this end. Yeah, so that is the double figure of 8 knot. So let's go on to now the Alpine butterfly knot. Up next we have the Alpine butterfly knot. Again, super simple, many ways to tie this knot. What I tend to do is create three loops in my hand like so. You move the right to the middle, so you're crossing over, and then the right comes all the way over the 2 of them, and then feeds back through your hole. Pull that tight, and again dress your knots so they're not naked. And there you have it. That is the Alpine butterfly knot. Nice and easy, straightforward. This knot is probably a knot that I will use 100% of the time, every single day, no matter what, because I use this as my canopy anchor. So I would create this knot and then clip a connector into the attachment point, and then clip my working line into that connector. So it's essentially, it will look like this, and I can work off of this end while my weight is pulling this knot tight around my main anchor point, and then I can retrieve it with the tail end. The reason I love this knot is just because it's so, once you get used to tying it, you can tie it really quickly. It's a midline knot, so you know you can do it anywhere on the rope that you feel like you need to. And to undo it, it's just a simple break the two legs, or break the hips even, and then pull the knot back through, and it's undone. Simple as that. And now I will show you how to do the Circus Bowline, or farmer's loop, whatever you want to call it. I know it as the Circus Bowline, and again, it's an alternative to the Alpine butterfly, and I'll explain why I use the Alpine butterfly and the Circus Bowline in different scenarios. Next on the list is the Circus Bowline. Again, very similar to how you would tie the Alpine butterfly. You create 3 loops like so. On this occasion, the middle comes over the right side, so, and then the new middle comes over the left, and then this new middle goes over the right, and then the middle comes all the way through, and then you pull that tight, and then you have the Circus Bowline. And this knot, why I would use this knot over in certain situations instead of the Alpine butterfly, is because this knot, heavily loaded, is much easier to undo because of the bends that you create in the rope. So if I was climbing on a base tie, I would use this knot slightly above my base anchor and have a carabiner connected into there, so I can use it as a rescue system. So I can weight this point, undo the base anchor, and then lower the climber down if they needed to. Under heavy loads, it's better than the Alpine butterfly, but with the Alpine butterfly, that's my main go-to knot for canopy anchors. So I'll anchor that. That'll be my main tie-in point at the top of the tree, just because it centralizes the rope better. So if I was to tie the Alpine butterfly again, you can see the difference in like orientation of how the ropes sit. So you've got this one, it's just straight horizontal, whereas this comes out, if I was working on that, your rope's somewhat at a funky angle, but this keeps everything symmetrical. So yeah, and again, these both very simple knots to undo, and they're knots that I use near enough every single day. So with this, just how you would break a bowline, basically, just pull the back apart, and you can just pull that loop through, and it's undone. Simple as that. So those are the 3 knots that I use near enough every single day. How to tie them, things like that. The things to consider when just tying them is obviously make sure they're dressed properly, because no one needs a naked rope and a naked knot. If you're going to climb on the double figure of 8 knot, just make sure that you put a stopper knot in the end of it. That can be just as simple as a single figure of 8, which is just a quick round the back and then through the hole, and you just create a figure of 8 as such. Yeah, they're quite useful knots. The things to just also bear in mind with tying any knot, regardless if if you're climbing on it, rigging on it, doing whatever with it, when you tie a knot, you reduce the strength of that rope by, it could be anywhere between 30%, 50%, 70%. It's, you know, a general ballpark, because you could reduce the strength of your rope by 50% because of you're compressing the internal rope fibers together, so the forces aren't able to disperse easier. So that's just another thing to consider when tying different knots. Like the bigger bend radiuses tend to be the better. You don't lose as much because the fibers aren't compressed together. And just, if you are going to practice tying knots, learning knots, practice them on the ground before you go and tie them in a tree and you end up tying it wrong, or you haven't dressed it properly and it comes undone. You know, just make sure that you tie it beforehand and get someone to check it that knows the knot before you go and climb on it. That's those 3 knots. If there's any other knots that people want to see me tie, want to learn how to tie, then obviously you can leave it in the comments, and I will make a video to tie some knots that people want to know or what they're interested in. You know, whether it's useful for rigging, climbing, rock climbing, just any kind of knots that people want to know, and I'll make a video on that. So that is all, and I shall catch you in the next video.